Newsreel World. Real news, real quick. Russian President Vladimir Putin condemned a terrorist attack in Russia's Bryansk region by Ukrainian saboteurs. Putin said gunmen, quote, infiltrated the border region and opened fire at civilians. They could see the vehicle with that civilians were inside, children, and opened fire, unquote. Ukrainian saboteurs crossed into Russia early Thursday and attacked civilians in local villages in the Bryansk region of western Russia. On Tuesday, Ukraine attacked Russia with drones, including one drone which came within 60 miles of Moscow. At the recommendation of President Joe Biden, Cindy McCain, the wife of the late U.S. Senator John McCain, has become the head of the United Nations World Food Program, the UN announced on Thursday. The Russian economy has managed to hold up against the massive sanctions imposed by Western countries and their allies over Moscow's military operation in Ukraine. White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby admitted on Thursday. Russia's foreign debt decreased for the first time in 3 years in 2022. Meanwhile, the country's total national debt amounted to $302.7 billion last year, putting the debt to GDP ratio at 17.1%, the lowest for any G20 nation. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius admitted earlier this week that the country's army isn't prepared to protect the nation against military aggression. Berlin's continued weapons shipments to Ukraine have greatly harmed the defenses of the nation. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his allies in the parliament denounced protesters as anarchists after they massed outside a Tel Aviv hair salon where his wife was getting her hair done while they were protesting the government's plan to overhaul the judiciary. The proposed legislation would give the parliament control over judicial appointments and the power to overrule the nation's Supreme Court. The G20 most industrialized, powerful and developing nations showed deep rifts as they ended talks in New Delhi, India, without consensus on Thursday, as Ukraine's war against Russia and China's rising influence dominated the conversations. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the host, urged his guests to focus on reaching agreements about food and energy security, climate change, and the debt of lesser developed countries, particularly in Africa. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov spoke for 10 minutes privately on the margins of the meeting, with Blinken telling Lavrov that Washington will support Ukraine to defend itself for as long as it takes. And that's the way the world is. See you next time.